Welcome, everyone. You made it. You are here for the May Learning and Development Roundtable. We're going to unlock your emotional intelligence with some pretty epic EI fundamentals. My name is Leanne Reagan, and I'm so delighted that you're here. Welcome. You did it. Of all the things that you could be doing, you showed up to focus on your personal and your professional development. So I'm delighted that you're here. This community is a fabulous one. It's global. There's people from all over the world who attend these roundtables. And I just want you to feel welcome and that this is a good use of your time. Again, my name is Leanne Reagan, and I have been in the learning and development space for, more than 30 years. It's been a long time. And I focus basically on these three things. So I do lots of workshops with change makers, mostly UN teams around working better together. So it's all of those things that help being part of a team really joyful and blissful, or an absolute nightmare. So things like communication, conflict resolution, managing change, creativity, etc. And I also do a lot of digital engagement work. I do a lot of work around tech tools, and then I work with subject matter experts to teach them how to teach. So your turn. Please feel free on the count of 3 to unmute. So please unmute everyone and say hello. So please feel free to unmute, and then on the count of 3, say hello, and say hello in whatever language you wish. Okay, so everyone unmute, unmute, unmute. Great. Okay, 1, 2, 3, go. Say hello.
Hello.
Hey.
Jumbo.
Oh, you're
Hello.
jumping. Great.
Hello.
Hello.
Lovely. Oh, welcome everyone. Whether this is your morning or your afternoon or your evening, however you come to be here, welcome. And I'll just ask you to mute yourselves again if you haven't already. I'd love to know in the chat a couple of things. Where are you? Where does this find you in the world? And also, I love this saying, emotions are expressions, they vary across cultures. So given your passport country or your passport countries, if you hold more than one passport, how does your culture tend to deal with emotion? And I know that's a big question. We could spend days talking about that. But just in general, how does your passport country or countries tend to deal with emotions? I'll put that in the chat. Because of course, emotions really vary across cultures. So let me know in the chat. Oh, Sajida. Hi, Sajida. Sajita's coming in from Nairobi. Great. Yeah, let me know where you are. And how does your passport country deal with emotions? Hi, John. John is coming in from Entebbe. Hi, Elizabeth. Oh, it's so nice to have you here. I've had the privilege of working with Elizabeth before. She's amazing, as everyone is who's in this call. She's coming in from Indonesia. Hi, Kavindra from India. Oh, it's such an amazing place. Hi, Goldman from Turkey. Oh, one of my favorite places in the world. Hi, Shams from Uganda. Great. Or in Uganda. Hi, Judith, US and Israel. Saleh from Nigeria. By the way, if I mispronounce your name, please send me a message if I happen to say around communication and conflict resolution, how we ourselves. So let me know, how does your passport country deal with emotion? You can think about that. Hi, Ponso. Oh, it's from Lesotho, in Lesotho, and residing in Uganda. Okay. So nice to have you here, Ponso. Mustafa Zir in Entebbe, or from Entebbe and in Bangladesh. Nice. Welcome. Okay, well, as you ponder that question around how your passport country tends to deal with emotion, it's really my wish that at the end of our time together, that you feel like this time was really, really well spent. So a couple of things to keep in mind. Please participate. We have lots of brilliant minds in the group, yours included. So please ask questions. So if you haven't already, you can keep in touch in the meantime in that LinkedIn group. And by the way, if you're watching this, your future self is watching this because this is recorded. All of the resources will be down below in the video. I also have a Facebook group, Learning and Development Roundtable Facebook group, so you can join that. And please, when you registered, you automatically became a member. So I'll talk about your membership benefits in just a second. But if you find value in our time together, please share that membership link. I just put it in the chat. I really, really, really love growing this community. It's just really vibrant and lovely. So please take a moment and invite a couple of colleagues to join the roundtable. Also, I will share a feedback link with you at the end of our time together, and I really, really appreciate your feedback, so much so that every month I draw a winner from people giving me feedback to win my Ban Boring Online Meetings course. So I'll announce at the end of today who won from last month. Also, I will send you all the recordings, the audio recording, the video recording, a workbook, all good things, lots and lots of resources, all the things I used to design this workshop. And you'll get that typically on Monday, maybe tomorrow if the team can get it together quick enough, but definitely by Monday. But members said, oh, Leanne, that's great, but we want to get things a little bit earlier. So, poof, like magic, you are going to get the PowerPoint in your email inbox at the Also, one other thing before we get going, I really want to be kind to your future self. So when you think of how do you remember what you're learning today, how do you use what you're learning, how do you share what you're learning, etc. So every roundtable, I alternate between a couple of different tools. So this month's is the HARP tool. So if you wish, you can download that tool and record some of your highlights from today, actions you want to take, resources that you want to remember, etc. So feel free to download that. You have to download it for it to become editable, but once it's downloaded, it's editable. Okay, I'm just going to make sure that everyone's muted just to make sure we don't have any background noise. Okay, so here is what you presume. Thank you for that. I took a deep dive in lots of research, and I always share all the research that I do for the roundtables. So we'll talk about why it's so important. I created a STAR tool, so I really wanted to make this practical and pragmatic for you and really easy to implement. So you'll get that tool and be able to use that. Also, we'll talk about the 4 skills of emotional intelligence and the 4 R's. And then I've got a section on creating a plan for your emotionally intelligent wellness, right? The world is a particularly upside down place right now. So I really wanted you to leave here with a bunch of tools to really look at your wellness. Okay, so give me a thumbs up in the chat if you are ready to dive in and find out what is emotional intelligence. And by the way, I'm sure that there's lots of people in the room who have at least some background in EI, so I'm looking forward to hearing about your resources and ideas. Okay, great. So let's dive in. I see some thumbs up there. So what is emotional intelligence? So I couldn't resist this, this little comic. My company is called Rock, Paper, Scissors. And so here's a gentleman shouting at the rock, the paper, and the scissors to stop fighting. So, we know what emotional intelligence isn't, right? We can recognize people who aren't necessarily have high EI skills, but we really want to look at what it is. I love this quote. Has anyone heard of Marcus Aurelius? My son gave me this book for Christmas. I'd never heard of him, and he wrote this book called Meditations. He was a Roman emperor back in 161 AD. So he wrote this famous book called Meditations, which is quite interesting. And I took this quote from that book. The mind without passion is a fortress. No place is more secure. So basically, he's saying that if we try to take emotion out of everything, we're much stronger. But of course, that's not very practical, or it's not really very doable. I took this quote from Daniel Goleman. Out of control emotions make smart people stupid. Out of control emotions make smart people stupid. Let me know in the chat. Can you recall seeing someone online or in real life getting just absolutely overtaken by emotions? Give me a thumbs up or let me know in the chat if you've seen that before. I would be very surprised if you haven't, right? It happens all the time. When I was thinking about this and ways to share this information, I kind of thought that Judith can, right? And maybe for ourselves as well. I know there's times when I've, definitely let my emotions get the better of me. So, the world can seem very unsettling, very upside down, very challenging, full of conflict. And I've heard people using the word doom a lot, right? We feel sometimes like we're doomed. But if we take that word doom, DOOM, and we turn it around just a little bit, we focus on mood, right? So emotional intelligence is as simple and as complicated as focusing on our moods, on our emotions, and the emotions of other people. So I would love to, if you are feeling a sense of doom, if you are feeling a sense of, just things are particularly hard right now, let's switch that doom to focus on mood. Okay, this is from UNSOS's. So if you're not a UN staff, it's one of the UN agencies in Somalia. These are characteristics of classic signs of people with low emotional intelligence. Let me know in the chat if you recognize any of these. So someone always has to be right. It's my way or the highway. People who are oblivious to other people's feelings, people who are insensitive, people who blame others for like if I'm blaming other people for my problems, people with poor coping skills, people who have emotional outbursts. I remember, was that a year ago? Maybe someone in the chat who's a UN staff, if you remember, you can let me know. The Secretary General released a whole piece on civility, right? And the importance of being civil. And I just thought that was so telling that that message needed to come from the Secretary General. People who struggle with relationships and turn conversations towards themselves. So can you think, don't let me know, don't say any names, but give me a thumbs up if you think of people who, anyone in your circle, maybe colleagues, maybe family members. Do you know anyone who has low emotional intelligence? And it might be yourself, right? It's because we're here to learn, to improve, to grow. Okay, so we've talked a little bit about recognizing the opposite of emotional intelligence. So here are some of the classic definitions. So emotional intelligence is the ability to understand emotions in ourselves and others, the importance of those emotions, and to use that knowledge to manage thoughts and behaviors. It's about recognizing emotions and leveraging emotional information, and not in a sleazy way, but like in an ethical way, by using that information to make informed choices. It includes emotional well-being, social relationships, and interpersonal dynamics. By the way, this will be in the workbook that you'll get on Monday. But a lot of this comes from this really lovely book, Emotional Intelligence 2.0. So does that sound familiar? Does that make sense? I was amazed to find out what percentage of people's careers get derailed because of emotional incompetence. So people that can't handle their emotions, can't handle conflict, they have trust issues. So take a guess, put any guess is welcome. So what percentage of people's careers get derailed? Thank you, Judith. So Judith is saying 20, Anita's saying 60. Great. What do some other people think? Fernanda saying 78. Anna is saying 50. These are great guesses. We've got Christina saying 67. John is saying 70. Lovely. Okay. The answer, I'm going to give you a drum roll because I was astounded. I was shocked when I read this stat. And this is from the book Emotional Intelligence 2.0. So here's a drum roll. And 78, right? We're so focused on technical skills. We think that's what's so important, but actually it's these emotional intelligence skills. Okay, so if that doesn't convince you the importance of these things, and I probably don't need to convince you because you showed up to this workshop, but EQ, so we can use EI, emotional intelligence, or EQ, emotional like quotient, it's the same thing, is far more important than IQ or sorry, just letting other folks in, when it comes to success and relationships. So what percentage of our success do we think is related to IQ? Pardon me. And what percentage, pardon me, is related to EQ? So put 2 percentages in the chat and just separate them by a dash or something. So what percentage of your success is accountable, is due to your IQ, and what percentage is EQ? Okay, we've got some answers coming in. So Kavindra says 20 and 80. Oh, so does Christine. John saying 40, 60. Great. Okay, anyone else? Mustafa Fazir is saying 90, 70. Okay. Faith is saying 20, 80. These are great. These are great. I appreciate all of your comments. Okay, so some of you got the first number right. Okay, so Carmela's saying 78, 22. Okay, Elizabeth 50, 50. Irene 80, 80, 20. Okay, I think some of you are going to be surprised. So another drum roll. Here's your first answer. IQ is only 20%, right? It's only 20%. I think that's amazing. We focus so much, and not that, not that technical skills are not important. Clearly, they're important. And they may not be as important to our ongoing success as we think they are. So, of course, if IQ is 20, EQ is 80%, 4 times, 1, 2, 3, 4 times more important. I just think that is astounding. Let me know in the comments, what do you think about that? Can you relate to that? Does that surprise you? Let me know. Let me know in the comments. So IQ is 20%, EQ is 80%. So let me know in the comments, what are your thoughts around that? And as you're thinking about that, one of the sort of sayings goes, we tend to get hired for our IQ and fired for our EQ. So hired for our technical skills and fired for our lack of emotional intelligence skills. Oh, Ponzo's asking a great question. What's the difference between, I think it's, oh, okay. What's the difference between IQ and EQ? Oh, great. Okay, so and let other people in the chat feel free to jump in. So think of IQ, that's like your intelligence scores, right? So your ability to read and write and math and those sort of technical skills, right? Your ability to like how intelligent you are, right? How much subject matter expertise you have. Whereas emotional intelligence is what we talked about before, right? Let me just quickly go back to that screen. So emotional intelligence, this is also related to character skills, which we talked about last month. And I'll put that roundtable on character skills in the workbook that you'll get because you registered for this workshop. Okay, and I saw a hand up. Oh, where did it go down? Okay, so okay, so Anita's saying that's so true. Mustafa Zir, very surprising. We should have known early. Right. Yeah, I think things are changing, right? So in many countries in young education and what I would call primary education, there's a lot of focus on collaboration, cooperation, really managing emotions, those kinds of things. So I think it is really changing. By the way, sorry, I love the feature in PowerPoint. A mandatory requirement, a must-have. EQ sets you apart. Yeah, and I think that whole notion of we tend to get hired for our IQ, right? A lot of onboarding, or rather, a lot of hiring recruitment is really focused on IQ, but in the long term, things really, it's our EQ that will really set us apart. Okay, so emotional intelligence contributed 2 times to success of top leaders than all other factors combined. So again, emotional intelligence was twice as important in this one particular research piece they were studying top leaders than all other leaders put together, or all other factors rather put together, right? It's just incredible. So why is it so important? People with high EQ, so people with high emotional intelligence, it really affects everything across the board. They tend to be less anxious, have less cases of depression, less cases of addiction. I would love to see your eyebrows, right? Is anyone's eyebrows going up? Right. I was surprised. My eyebrows went up in surprise when I realized that there's a link between emotional intelligence and depression. I think I'm just gonna mute you there, unless if someone has a question, let me know. But okay. People with higher EQs have longer attention spans. They have better overall mental health and well-being, and they're more likely to be leaders. They're more likely to lead and inspire others and get enjoyment out of life, right? Both little things and big things. And again, this research is from the Emotional Intelligence 2.0 book. Okay. Also, I just mentioned this, that emotional intelligence is related to character skills. Some of you, let me know in the chat, was anyone at last month's roundtable on character skills? If that concept is new for you, you might know it as soft skills, right? Some of the language around that is changing. So I will put that roundtable in the workbook that you'll get. I thought we'd have just a fun little, it's not really a competition, but just a fun little thing. I am going to invite you, I'm going to give you 1 minute. So I'm going to put a timer on my phone, and I'm going to invite you to name as many emotions as you can in 1 minute. So type them out in the chat. And then when I say stop after 1 minute, press enter. So you don't have to write one emotion and press enter write another emotion, press enter. So I'm going to say go in just a moment. Name as many emotions as you can. I'll give you 1 minute. And when I say stop, you press enter and we'll see what appears in the chat. So let me just pause for a sec. Any questions on that task? Is that clear? Okay, you've got 1 minute. On your mark, get set, go. See how many emotions can you name? Oh, and you want to wait till the minute's up. So it's great that some of you are already putting them in the chat, but you can also enter a whole bunch. Oops. You can also enter a whole bunch and then press enter, but that's okay. So you've got, your time is just about half up. This is great. So for people who might be watching the video and can't see the chat in the future, we've got joy, anger, surprise, disappointment, happiness. Oh, silence. That's interesting. Anger, undermined. Ooh, happy. Anger, sadness, happiness. Lots of anger and lots of happiness. Cry, depression, laugh, shouting, burst, happiness, sadness, anger, anxiety. Anxiety. Lots of anxieties now. Okay. Happiness, anger, sadness, feeling of loss, excitement, feeling puzzled, surprised. Oh, and stop. Okay, that was 1 minute. Oh, this is great. Okay, we've got tons and tons and tons there. Oh, so many. So lots, I haven't, this is not a overall, like a perfect analysis, but anger and happiness seem to be the two most popular. Let me know in the chat, have you heard of Brene Brown? Brene Brown is an amazing researcher on shame. She's basically known for shame research. Yeah. Oh, Christine, what's YRD? I don't know what that means. So I thought this was a great place to, oh, okay, gotcha. Oh, we got some more people coming in. Ponzo, I love his topic on ego. Yes, absolutely. Oh, so the person's name is Brene Brown. So I wanted to bring you over to this, and I'll put her name in the chat here. And again, you'll get this deck. Oops, hang on. You will get this deck. There we go. As part of the workbook. So I share everything with you. So in her research, I was just astounded by this. On average, people can only name three emotions on average. Now, of course, this group is amazing. So you all named a bunch. But in her, she has this great book called Atlas of the Heart, and it's all about emotion. And she in her research says there's about 87. So on average, think about the implications of this, right? This is really important. If on average, people can only name 3 emotions, then to me, that means that emotional intelligence needs a bunch of work, because if you can't recognize, name, be familiar, put a word to how you're feeling, that is the basic foundation of being emotionally intelligent. So I think we've got lots of interesting, intriguing work to do. So the emotions part of the EI, and I think about this all the time. Brene Brown has this thing called the story I'm telling myself. The story I'm telling myself, meaning when something is triggering a big emotional reaction, fear, disgust, anger, sadness, it's helpful. Again, I use this all the time to think about, what is the story I'm telling myself? Because sometimes, actually frequently, it helps me illuminate some assumptions that I'm making, right? So in terms of that emotions part of the EI, when we're dealing with other people, the idea here is, are they telling themselves the same story? Or is it a completely different story? Now, let's ask the judge. So let me just, sorry, folks. Hang on here. Let me just switch the share here. So I, sorry, I'm just going to stop sharing because I'm not doing a very good job of this. Hang on. Let me share. Which screen am I on here? I love tech tools. So I always try to use a new tech tool. I set a little challenge for myself to use a new tech tool every every roundtable. So this is one of the suite of tools called Goblin tools. Again, it'll be in your workbook, but I've also put the URL in the chat. And this suite of tools was developed for, pardon me, for people with neurodiversity. So that might apply to some of you. And even if it doesn't, this tool, basically what I did is I took a blog post of mine, and this is all about how to help you read more. So I copied the whole blog post into this section. And then once you hit judge, by the way, let me know in the chat, can you see, can you see the Goblin screen? I should have asked you that ahead of time. So just give me a thumbs up if you can see this Goblin screen. Great. Okay. Thank you, Lucy. So what it does, this is so cool, is it takes the emotional tone, pardon me, of any text that you put in there, and it tells you, it tells you kind of the emotion or the tone of that post or whatever content you put in there. You can also, let's just say this was an email, as you got an email from someone and you want to reply, you can put your reply in here and it will read that tone. So does that, I'm just going to go back to our share. Does that deserve an ooh and an ah? What do you think? Is that kind of cool? Let me know in the chat. What do you think of that? So if you need to kind of look at the emotional tone of something. Anna's saying super emotional. Oh, Fernanda, yeah, yes, Chat GPT. Yes, that's also, I have a challenge for myself. I'm using Chat GPT at least once a day. Yes, Christine, very cool. John, amazing. Yeah, look up the Goblin tools because they have, there's a number of other tools in that suite, and they're all free. So a super simple thing you can do is ask the judge. Okay, and just before we get, because I want to make sure we get to really practical, pragmatic things for you. But what do you think? Are we more rational?
Leanne, we cannot hear you from here.
Can you hear me okay now, folks? Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay, apologies. I think someone was saying that sometime this week a cable got dropped on the fiber optic cord or something in Kenya. So we've been having a few issues with internet connectivity, but okay, thank you. I love that. Hi, Marlon. That was an EI test. Yes, I did that on purpose. Yes. I love that. I thank you for being patient with that drop there. Okay, so let me know in the chat. What do you think? As like overall, in general, are human beings more rational or more emotional? Let me know in the chat. Are human beings in general? Okay, so okay, what are we getting here? So Panna saying emotional, same with Fernando, same with Tillman, same with John, same with Jude. Okay, so everyone so far. And Tamina saying both depends on the situation and personality. Oh, I like that. That nuanced answer. Norbert, emotional, but circumstances of life makes them rational. Oh, nice. Okay. Okay, well, Brene Brown would say that we are we think that we are logical beings who are sometimes emotional. Okay, so we think that we're logical beings that are sometimes emotional. This is Brene Brown's work, but actually we're emotional beings who are sometimes rational. Ponzo saying studies also attribute this to gender and situations. Yeah, so gender absolutely comes in. Clearly, socialization is a big part of that. Culture is a big part of that, etc. Okay, so what are emotions? And by the way, we're just about ready to dive into this 5-star tool. Emotions are simply mental states or feelings that arise spontaneously, not by intention, right? No, I like that last part, not by intention. So we like to sometimes think of ourselves as so, we're so smart and we're so controlled and we're so, on top of things. And emotions are just, they're not, they're spontaneous. Camilla saying we are born emotional and rationality develops as we grow. Oh, that's great. That's great, Camilla. That sounds very philosophical. I like that. Okay, so just 2 more things before we start to dive into this 5-star tool. I like this concept from the Emotional Intelligence 2.0 book about primary emotions and secondary emotions. This is I learned this concept a couple years ago, and it really, really made a difference, I think, in my emotional intelligence, or at least in my opinion. So primary emotions, of course, are the things that happen, the emotion that comes to the surface at the beginning, initially. It dissipates quickly, so it goes away quickly. And it's the first emotion that you feel in response to something that you're perceiving. Okay. So there are things like fear, anger, sadness, joy, love, and surprise. And they're very instinctive. I love the community is helping someone with the sound. That's great. Okay. If someone's having issue with the sound, you may wish to drop the call and then come back. And also as Denise said, or Dennis says, maybe check your connection. And thank you for your patience with this. Yeah. Yay, that's great, Tillman. Great. Okay, so those are primary emotions. I think these secondary emotions, and actually, sorry, back to the part that has been super helpful for me. I've learned when I get angry to ask myself, what often anger is a sign that one of my values has been disrespected, or like anger is often connected to values. So that quick little tip, let me know in the chat if you do this, if you know this tip, is if you're angry, ask about which value that you hold dear might that anger be connected to. Petty saying, is fear always instinctual? Anxiety, which is based on fear, can be a constant. I'm certainly not an expert in this, but I think fear is instinctive, right? We don't think about, I'm just going to give you a very bold example. If there is a bear or a lion running towards you, you don't stop and think, should I be afraid of this? Should I feel fearful? It's something that is very, it comes out of you, varies when those hairs on the back of your neck stand up, or the hairs on your arm, and you think, oh, you might not know why, but something is making you feel afraid. And let me know in the chat if you have, if others have things to add. Mustafa Zia is saying, does the EQ increase with age when we are more matured? Oh, that's a great question. I would think, I don't have any stats to quote on that. I would think, certainly from a brain development perspective, between 0 and about 6, and then again in the teenage years, the brain is developing super, it's like it's on, on high speed. And until that prefrontal cortex right here, this part of the brain, until that's fully developed, that's why teens can do some, let me know in the chat if you are parents of teens or have been parents of teens. That's why teens can do some things that you think, where was your head? It's because their prefrontal cortex isn't fully developed. So from a brain development perspective, I think yes. I think it also depends on how much attention you pay to learning and growing and developing. Development. So I think partially age can be a factor, and also, your will to learn and grow. Pardon me. Okay, so that's primary emotions. And then secondary emotions are, if you think you hit a path in the road, it's that next thing that happens. And they actually replace the primary emotion. So if your primary emotion is fear, so someone jumps out at you at night behind a door to just, they think it's funny, but you get very fearful, your secondary emotion might be anger, right? You jump from fear to anger. Or if someone is, being disrespectful at work, for example. And again, that anger is a sign that your values have Actions are a result of our thoughts, and thoughts a result of our beliefs. Yeah, they're also primary though too, right? Like the emotion can drive the thought. Hi, folks. Oh, this has not happened before. The is really struggling. Okay, let me know. Can you hear me again? Okay. Let's see here. Okay. Thanks. Thanks for your patience. Let me just check. I believe it's still, yeah, okay, it's great. It's recording. Okay. Yes. And again, I'm doing this on purpose, right? To look at our resilience and our patience, our emotional intelligence. Yeah, no. Okay, so that was a kind of a quick introduction. May I have your permission to move on to this 5-star tool? Let me know in the chat. Can you give me a thumbs up if you're ready for the 5-star tool? Okay, and we've got some more people coming in. Okay. Okay, and also I just wanted to give you a heads up. We will have a quick break. Just see here. Actually, let me just ask you now, because we're roughly halfway through. Would you like to have a break now for 5 minutes, or would you like to start with the 5-star tool? and then have a break. So do you want to go for another few minutes, or are you ready for a break? Let me know in the chat. So you can put break or you can put continue. No break. Okay, someone will say no breaks. Break. Okay. Okay. So folks are saying continue for the most part. If you need it, if you're the person who put you need a break, just take a stretch and of course do what you need to do. And I just want to also welcome all the folks who've been joining from time to time. Henry, it's so nice to see you on the call. Thank you. Okay, so let's go for a couple more minutes and then we'll take a break. I am super happy I love going to like what I call garage sales, like secondhand things. And I found this in recently, and you are the first group that I'm using this. So I was thinking about this concept of pause, not clause. So pause, not clause. And I think that in a way, this really sums up emotional intelligence. So when that first spike of a very powerful primary emotion, I'm angry, I'm sad, it's so overwhelming. What tends to happen is those claws come out, right? Those claws. Hi, everyone. I just want you to know that I really value your time, and I'm so sorry that these connectivity issues keep happening. This hasn't happened before, and I'm kind of embarrassed, and I'm just apologetic. Your time is really valuable, and yeah, it's just frustrating when this happens. Okay. Let me here. Okay. So let me know if you can hear me okay, you can see me again. Uh, Norbert, I like that sound check. Okay. Thanks, Judith. Okay, great. Okay. Marlon saying dinosaurs were emotional then, so Mother Nature must have said this, so just too much. Let's get more cerebral power going, right? Yeah, and especially in this book, Emotional 2.0, they talk about that there's really no such thing as a bad emotion, right? They're really signalers, right? I'm going to talk about that in a bit. Hi, Lucy. Yes, I'm in Nairobi. Yes, internet has been a big problem this week. So thank you once again for your patience there. Okay, so did you hear the pause, not clause before we went out? Let me know. Just give me a thumbs up. Does that make sense? The idea of this next, okay, great. So this whole next section is how to make those claws go away. So you can take a pause and you can react as the wonderful, intelligent human being that you are. Okay, so pause, not clause. So the first part of that, and these are these 5 elements. So this is very classic in emotional intelligence training. And what I did for you is I created this tool. So it's a 5-star tool. And if I put the link in the chat, if you are looking at this in the future, if you're watching the recording, all of the resources will be down below. So this first part of getting those claws to go away, like wanting to fight, freeze, or flee, and being able to take a pause and react as the beautiful human that you are, the first part of that is self-awareness, right? And by the way, when you download that worksheet, it becomes editable. So you can, sorry, this is just a day. Can you hear that smoke alarm going off? Is that, I hope you can't hear that. Can folks hear this high pitched? Oh, great. Okay, good. I think it's for me, it's a little bit funny that that these things are happening when the topic is emotional intelligence. So I hope that I'm coming across as calm and collected for you, because that's my wish. Okay, Marcus. Yes, so the recording is shared. Once you register, you automatically become a member. I'll talk about that right before the break. So you'll get the recording, the audio recording, the video recording, the workbook. You get all sorts of goodies. Okay, okay, great. Oh, Julian, you think I'm too calm and collected? You want me to get angry and? Okay, so the first part, and again, that tool, once you download it, you can kind of do a self-assessment on these 5 parts, these 5 key elements of emotional intelligence. So the first one is self-awareness. So think being able to give yourself feedback, like really listening, like not getting caught up in the emotion, but really thinking, how am I feeling right now? And on the count of 3, if you've been to other workshops, I mentioned amygdalas before, so this might be familiar to you, but please unmute. So everyone unmute. Oh, Anita's saying, don't you need to make yourself safe? It's the battery. Thank you, Anita. So talk about emotionally intelligent, right? She's concerned about my safety. It was an issue with the battery, but thank you. Okay, so everyone unmute, unmute, unmute. And on the count of 3, say amygdala, amygdala. 1, 2, 3, go.
Amygdala.
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 Okay, so feel free to mute again. So everybody mute, mute. And amygdala, you have 2 amygdalas in your brain, and they're so important. When information comes into your brain, part of the thing that happens is it goes to your amygdalas, and your amygdalas decide, can I eat it, or is it going to eat me? If your amygdalas decide that you can eat it, that's the equivalent of I'm calm, I'm safe, I'm okay. I can use my prefrontal cortex and be the intelligent person that I am. If your amygdalas decide it's going to eat me, that's the equivalent of I'm embarrassed, I'm overwhelmed, I'm angry, I feel disrespected, I'm sad, I feel left out, I'm offended, I'm disrespected, etc. I Jeez Louise. Okay, let me get us back here. Once again, you are all being rock star. I appreciate your patience. Oh my goodness. Okay. Okay. Thanks, Judith. Oh yeah. Okay, so great. Okay. So and just give me a thumbs up. You can hear me okay. Just let me know. So I was talking about that amygdala, right? And I call it massaging amygdala, right? Massaging your amygdalas. So just going to turn this camera on here. So yes, Mr. Fazir, yes, it's part of the lesson. I'm testing your emotional, your intelligence. Yeah, no, it's just we're so in this region and in Kenya, we're just struggling with connectivity this week. Someone said that a ship dropped. This happened years ago. A ship dropped anchor on the main fiber optic cable or something. I don't know. Okay, so the first piece, and again, let me just share that again. So you can rate yourself. This is all private. You can rate yourself on that assessment tool according to your self-awareness. So how aware are you of your emotions? How you're feeling? Do you notice when you're overwhelmed, anxious, or are you just reacting automatically? You're on pilot. A couple of tips. I love this. I took the Emotional Intelligence Nano Tips course on LinkedIn Learning. It's great, really, really interesting. One of the techniques she suggests is that we can sometimes go too far with self-awareness. We can sometimes go too far. So, am I good enough? Is it okay? Oh, everyone doesn't like me. Oh, I feel left. I don't know. I should be better. I'm not working hard enough. I'm not. Just we get into these loops. And her suggestion is if you think that you are going into a bit of a spiral, to just stop and clap. And it just kind of jolts your brain a little bit and stops that spiral. So let me know, what are some of your tips for do's and don'ts? Do you have any suggestions in the chat? Oh, Petty, you do this a lot. Oh, that's great. Oh, that's good to know. So any other tips for self-awareness, let me know in the chat. And again, you can rate yourself in that tool that I designed for you. Okay, I'll watch for the comments and I'll also go on to tip. Oh, we've got some coming in. Okay. Oh, Mustafa Zir, talk to a mirror. That's brilliant. I love that. That's so good. That's so good. Ada saying, stop doing what you're doing, breathe and relax. Right, exactly. Pan is saying, take a deep breath. Yeah, super simple, right? These are not like brain surgery. It's super, super simple. You're trying to interrupt that loop. Judith is saying, once I recognize the emotions, I kind of hold it outside of me to look at it. Oh, nice. Oh, that's so good. Anita says, I do a countdown from 10 or 100, depending on the circumstances. Nice. Petty, I distract, then run away by nice. Tamima, and listening to music, being in nature, looking into the sky and breathing, singing. John, taking a stroll. Oh, I listened to this podcast that talked about in nature, there tends to be a lot of rounder, more circular objects that are actually, it's the part of the reason why nature is so helpful is that those round shapes are easier for us to look at. I also, and I apologize, I can't remember the author I learned this from, but this concept of a wild child and a general. So the wild child is the sort of 2-year-old in your brain that I want to do it my way. Like 2-year-olds are not emotionally intelligent, right? So what is that wild child doing? And then the general is sort of the dictatorial, not very kind, not very empathetic. Like, sometimes I'll look at, okay, what's my wild child doing and what's my general doing? Oh, most of us here are saying, remember good memories. Oh, so lovely. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, so one, you have this general awareness. Then the next part of that is self-regulation. So manage, and this is, can be super hard. It's easy to talk about interrupting that loop or taking a walk or taking a deep breath, but those emotions can be so strong. So where are you at in terms of self-regulating? And you gave a lot of great tips for that just a minute ago. So that's the second piece. So we've got self-awareness, self-regulation. Some ways to do that. This comes from the Emotional Intelligence Nano Tips, is think of a hot button. So something that if I wanted to press this button, if I wanted to upset you, if I wanted to get you angry, what is that hot button? So maybe for you, it's when people are late. And then to yourself, describe how you react. So for example, maybe you get angry, and then come up with a strategy. So you do this ahead of time. So what's a hot button for yourself? Think about how you react, and then think of a strategy. And you've come up with great examples, right? Breathing, talking to yourself in the mirror, going for a walk, etc. And then do that with other hot buttons. Oh, Ada's saying you should celebrate. Yeah, when you manage it, you said, yeah, that's great. Yeah, absolutely. Give yourself a pat on the back. Rashid is saying, is there between emotional intelligence to mental health? Absolutely, Rashid. Yes. Surprisingly, there is. There's an earlier slide about that, so you may wish to go back on your own time and look at that. There's connection to, what was it, depression, anxiety. Yeah, it's quite shocking. Marlon is saying a good book on self-regulation, Dr. Wayne Dyer, Pulling Your Own Strings. Oh, that's great. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, and continue to, if you have other suggestions, please feel free to share. So on that self-regulation, another one, and this comes from the kind of the field of sport, and it was from the emotional intelligence nanotips course I took. So once you think about this hot button, oh my goodness. Okay, let me get you back to the space here. Again, thank you. You are rock stars for your patience here. I have no idea what this is going to do to my recording, but we're making it work. Okay, just let me know. Can you hear me? I think losing the sound is the signal that the recording is going up. Can you hear me okay now though? Did it come back? Great. Thank you, Anita. I'm a little bit nervous because when I made the gesture to go away, that's when the internet went down. So yeah. Okay, so just to quickly recap here, her idea is to make a gesture that represents a hot button, a physical gesture, and then a second gesture that represents getting rid of that that pent-up emotion. I'm not going to make the going away thing because the internet will drop. Okay, Dennis is saying, but I have managed to regulate myself by thinking from the other person's point of view. Oh, that's great. Yes. And try to find out the reasons as to why they came late. Fabulous, Dennis, that you're ahead of the class. Part's coming up. This is fabulous. Yeah, so if we can come at things with a, because what I hear in that is an element of curiosity. Absolutely. Okay. And Elizabeth saying, hi, Leah. Elizabeth, so nice to have you here. Oh, no, you've got a meeting. No worries. You'll get all the resources that are coming to you. The PowerPoint will be in your inbox in just like 25 and all of the audio recording, video recording, etc. will come to you. Okay, I just want to pause. Oh, you're so welcome. I just want to pause. Speaking of self-regulation, we've got a little bit more on self-regulation, and then we've got 3 others. I'm taking a look at the time. Normally we'd have a break, and because the internet's been going in and out, I just want to ask, do you want a break? Do you want to take a quick 5-minute break, or are you good to continue? Just let me know. Do you want you can just put continue or break in the chat. Okay, we've got one person asking for a break, one continue. I'm just watching the things. Okay, so most people are saying continue. Okay, so I will continue. I'm kind of breaking a cardinal rule of mine because I do like to give breaks. We've lost a fair amount of time with the connectivity issues. So let's do one thing right now. Let's just pause, and for the sake of a break, think about right now. I'm just going to give you like 10 seconds to do this. Think of making a gesture that represents a hot button and then a gesture to let it go, and do that right now. So what's a gesture that represents a hot button and then a gesture to let it go? So, and then if you want to, you can describe. Normally I'd put the cameras on and so you could demo, but I'm a little worried about the connectivity. So, so let me know in the chat. What gestures did you do there? Okay, so I completely realize this has been choppy. So we've done the self-awareness. That's the 1 point of the 5-star. And then we are on the second point of the 5-point star, which is self-regulation. And we've talked about managing those impulses through a hot button and some physical gestures. Oh, Petty's asking if I if I need a break. Oh, that's so kind. I am totally fine. That's so sweet that you asked. Thank you. I appreciate that. Okay, so we'll continue on with self-regulation here. Does anybody know what NVC stands for? NVC. And you can make up something funny if you want. Oh, I love that. Marlon did a gesture as an emoji. Oh, that's so clever. If you're watching the video later, it's the emoji that's covering the eyes. That's so great. Okay, so does anybody know what NVC stands for? Could be, I'm just going to make something up. Newbie, violet, cucumbers. Nobody? Okay. Well, it stands for oh, yes. Okay, we've got some here. Yes. Oh, people are saying nonverbal communication. Oh, that's clever. Okay, in my case, it's nonviolent communication. Amina's saying, when you realize that the pitch of your voice is going up, that's when I need to step back. Oh, I love that. And Amina, you might want to link that to a gesture. So your voice going up could be, your hot button, and then your hand going down could be the other one. Okay, so also under self-regulation is this. Now, this is, of course, a huge topic, so I just wanted to put a little bit of spotlight on it. But this idea of nonviolent communication, which instead of making judgments, interpretations, and demands, we want to focus on observing, noticing feelings, needs, and requests, right? That can really make a massive difference with emotional intelligence. Okay, number 3 of our 5-point star is motivation. And I love this concept of, if you are focused on what's happening in the moment, if you add that self-awareness and the self-regulation, then you can move to action, right? So if you're focusing on partly what motivates you and what's motivating the other person, and this is such a topic of interest to me that I designed. This was like a game changer for me, is and continues to be. So I designed this motivation survey based on National Geographic research, and you can take it and it will tell you which of these 6 styles speaks to you. And sometimes you'll get more than one style. And there's also a link in the survey to get more information about the styles. So I remember I was having a really difficult interaction with someone. And I was really stumped. I'm like, I'm really not understanding why we're having such conflict here. And then I turned to thinking about her motivation. And I realized that she was motivated externally. So it was very important to her what other people thought. It was very important. And then it was like fireworks and light bulbs and marquee lights went off. I'm like, oh, she's embarrassed. Oh, that's now I was, trying to make a hypothesis. I couldn't, climb into her brain, but that was my best guess. And when I started acting from the position of thinking that maybe she's embarrassed, everything changed. Everything changed. So if you haven't already, you may wish to take that motivation survey and think about what's motivating you and what's motivating maybe the people that maybe you're having some issues with them, some conflict, etc. Okay, so we've got self-awareness, we've got self-regulation, we've got motivation. The fourth one is empathy. Now, what do you think? What is one of the best ways to show empathy? Any guesses? And again, this is all different ways to get rid of those claws, right? To get rid of your brain's tendency to think that something's trying, that's chasing you, and the only reaction is to fight, free, or flees. Okay, Mustafa is saying kindness. Ponzo saying nodding, nonverbal communication. Great. Natalia is saying listen empathetically with intention to understand. Oh, nice. Laurentina saying help. Okay. Okay, well, as you're thinking about that, oh, I don't know if I should tempt fate. I have a video. Should I try to play the video? What do you think? Yes or no in the comments. Oh, there's so many. There's such great. Okay, Ponzo's saying yes. Okay, okay. Okay, everyone, I want you to cross your fingers and your legs and your arms. That it's not, the video is not online. I've downloaded it, but hopefully we can play this. It's very, very short. Okay, here we go.
Where are you right now? Where? It's Miami. No, Miami. You gotta say Miami. You say Miami. Alex, the word is Miami. Miami.
Okay, I don't want to tempt fate here. And Rashid, I saw your question. I'll get to that in just a second. So basically, this little one's caregiver, dad, I don't know, friend, is trying to get her to say Miami. And she's being incredibly empathetic. Instead of saying Miami, she's saying your Amy, right? As opposed to the city Miami, which I thought was brilliant because she's being very empathetic. She's putting herself in his shoes, but he's not. He just keeps repeating the same thing over and over and over. So one of the best ways to show empathy, other than all the beautiful things that you've suggested, is to show that you're open to feedback. That is a remarkable. It's a game changer in terms of opening up empathy. Rashid also asked, can environment contribute to emotional regulation? Absolutely, absolutely. Environment, culture, your team culture, your organizational culture, your passport country culture, all of those things contribute, absolutely. So in terms of empathy, this is the fourth point of the star, really thinking about showing that you're open to empathy. And the idea of empathy is understanding someone else's experiences and being open to sharing, encouraging them to share their feelings. We got people coming in, no worries. I appreciate that people come when they are able. If you are just joining us, this is the tool that we're working with. So you can download this and it becomes editable. Okay, and then the fifth point of the tool are what we call social skills. Now I wanted to play this very quick clip here for you. That is the sound of a little piece of my soul dying. Right? When people refer to social skills or character skills as these soft skills, like it sounds like they're not important. They're just, if you have time, like whatever, a little piece of my soul dies. Because I'm hoping that you've seen, especially with the intro part to this workshop, how critically important this is to your mental health, your career success, your relationships, etc. And of course, these social skills can include a lot of different things. I will include, as I mentioned, last month's roundtable resources in this month's roundtable resource workbook. Some of the things we talked about were managing ambiguity, forming good habits, giving and receiving feedback, your mindset, your grit, your will skill matrix, your ability to take on different perspectives. For example, using, I have this tool called Life Lenses. It's on my website. You can take that assessment for free. Your ability to have work-life balance, and then all of those things that make working better together. Things like communication and conflict management and change management, creativity, all those kinds of things. Just looking at the questions here, Anita's saying there is the same wrong perception about soft law. Oh, I don't quite understand, Anita. I love the comment, and if you can just say a little bit more, that would be great. Kajita saying, can you please advise if we can have supportive materials to learn more about the EI? Oh, absolutely, Kajita. So in the workbook, I will share all of the resources that I use to design this workshop, and you'll get the audio recording, video recording, etc. Showing that you are interested in the needs of others. Yeah, absolutely, Dennis. Absolutely. Okay, so may I have, so that's basically the 5 points of that star. May I have your permission to switch on to talking about your EI wellness plan? Anita's saying, never mind, soft doesn't mean that it's, yes. Yeah, we have a real bias, like soft means it's not important, it's kind of take it or leave it, etc. Absolutely. Marlon's saying, sharing this tool, I learned a lot on the intensity of emotions from this. It becomes important to active listening. Oh, great. Okay, Marlon, I will grab that from the chat, and I will put it in the workbook. And there was one other, someone else shared a resource. If it's possible to share it again, I'll grab that as well. Atlas of Emotions is Brene Brown's book, the resource that Marlon has just shared. Beautiful book, beautiful coffee table quality. It's incredible. Okay. So can I have a couple other thumbs up? Are you good to transition into, I want to make sure we get to this emotional intelligence wellness plan. Is that okay? Can we get a couple of other thumbs up? Great. Okay. Oh, yes, Kajita, resilience. Yes, absolutely. It's listed in those social skills there. Absolutely. Yeah. I have a resilience survey on my website in the resource section. Okay, so let's focus on that brilliant brain of yours and keeping it healthy, keeping yourself healthy. And what I'm going to do is share a number of tools. And my apologies ahead of time. I'm going to go relatively quickly through this. My apologies because we've lost a fair amount of time with these connectivity issues. So let's focus on that brilliant brain of yours. Pick the tools that you like and just leave the ones that you're like, that doesn't speak to me as much. And the idea here, I don't know if you've heard of these terms, about emotional hygiene, right? And emotional literacy, right? So these tools for your EI wellness plan are all about helping you have EI emotional hygiene and EI emotional literacy. So what we want to do is move, I'm going to try to show a video again. We want to move from this.
Okay, Theo, get it. Get it, Theo, get it.
Okay, so I wanted to start off with this just to say that some of these concepts might be new for you. Some of them might feel a little awkward, a little like, oh, this doesn't fit. And just give yourself some grace, right? The world is an upside down place right now. So take the tools that work, that call to you, and leave the rest. So one of the first tools I want to share with you is this tool I developed called Rise. And this, I'll put this in the workbook, and I'll also put this link in the chat for more information. One of the things that I see people doing a lot when I'm working with teams is they're focused on making some social change, right? They're trying to affect some social change, and they're looking at it as a solely as an individual issue. So this quadrant here, this tool is meant to kind of help you brainstorm some different ways to take care of yourself and really think about how you're moving through the world. So the 4 quadrants, the 4 elements are individual. So those are the things that are within my control. And structural, those are the things that are policy related, governance, laws, institutional, things that I don't have 100% of control over. And then revolution is this concept of big, bold changes. They are in your face, that you know that these are happening. And evolution are these soft, quiet, gentle, subtle changes. So this is meant for you to kind of help yourself brainstorm some different ways to move around in the world. And again, I'm going over this pretty quickly. I just want to be mindful of your time. So there is that blog post there if you want to find out more about this particular tool, if it speaks to you. Okay, another tool is my soft tool. I don't know if any of you have the experience, especially if you're here in Kenya, of trying to light a fire. This is in my fireplace in my house. And a lot of the wood here in Nairobi, it takes a long time to get a fire going. The wood is super, super, super hard. And once it's going, it really lasts. It really burns brightly and well. So as of one day, as I was trying to get this darn fire started, I was thinking of you, dear ones, and really thinking about how I could make this into a learning moment. So I created this whole post on kind of an acronym that is meant to be focused on fire. So the S stands for spark. You know, what is sparking you? Oxygen. How are you getting your oxygen? What is fueling you for the long term? And how are you acting over time? So again, you can get much more information about that from the blog post there. A third tool, and I alluded to this a little bit earlier, I love this idea of we are often led to look at emotions as so-called negative emotions. And the research really says, we should really look at them as not negative, but valuable, because they are alerting us, they are motivating us, they are a signal. And I don't know how many of you in the chat or who are here with us today, if you've had the experience of being pregnant, but I remember with my first baby, I went to a prenatal course, and I'll never forget, the instructor was talking about how labor pains are such a valuable thing, that if the labor wasn't painful, we wouldn't necessarily pay attention. If we were out in the field gathering food or something, and we didn't have that pain, we wouldn't know that something really momentous is about to happen. And that has never left me. So this idea of what are these emotions signaling, right? So in your emotional hygiene, your emotional literacy, think about, guilt and shame. They really help us adhere to a moral code. Anger can motivate us to change. It can protect us. Fear is a signal of danger, and sadness can build empathy and connectivity. Okay, the last piece here, or one of the last pieces, I think I've got 5 tools or so, is, and by the way, these are all things that are mostly meant for you to look inwards, right? So for you to use as an individual. is these 4 R's. And these are real, this is very common in the emotional intelligence research. If this is an easy way for you to remember, you may wish to write them down or keep them on a note on your computer, to recognize what's going on, to regulate, to read signals, and then respond, right? As opposed to responding to that first initial blush of anger or, one of those very strong primary emotions. And then I love this. If you know James Clear's work, he does a lot of work around habits. I did a workshop. One of the roundtables was on habit formation. So I did a lot of research on his work. And this notion of, here are some simple ways to have a peaceful moment. If emotions are overtaking you, close your eyes and breathe. Leave your phone in another room. Watch a cloud form and dissolve if you can get outside. Stand in the sunshine and notice how it feels on your skin. Light a candle and watch the flame. These are all from James Clear. I'll leave you also with this resource. We don't have to, I was going to show it to you, but it's this really great website. It's called Do Nothing for 2 minutes. And it's literally that. You just see these waves and it tracks. If you touch your mouse, it will say start again. So you may wish to add that tip to your emotional hygiene, your emotional literacy, just a way of simply pausing for 2 minutes. Also, I just finished reading this Light Maker's Manifesto, fabulous book. It's all about being a change maker and not burning out. And I love this notion. People who practice self-compassion are far more productive, better partners, parent better, live longer, and heal faster. It's a quote from that book. So you may wish to pick up a copy of that book and read it. It's really, really great. It's very, very inspiring. Julianne saying, the day I learned to speak as calm and collected as you, I will throw myself a party. I want to be like you when I grow up. Well, Julianne, I that's such a great segue. Next month's, I'm going to take this opportunity to tell you, next month's roundtable is on public speaking. So the members asked for a workshop on that. So you may wish to sign up for next month's roundtable, but thank you. That's a kind thing to say. Okay, so those are some tips for looking inwards. For looking outwards, you may have heard of this. This is from an UNSOS, a UN manual. So this concept of oasis. So look for observable data. I love this concept of ants. I learned a lot about this working with some special needs folks, which are automatic negative thoughts. So if you are a person, someone mentioned anxiety, if you are a person who tends towards anxiety, you may wish to do some research on automatic negative thoughts. So we want to look at, proof for what we're thinking and feeling, being aware, suspending judgment, identifying common ground, so important, and selecting mutually beneficial actions. Oh, thanks, Kajita. I look forward to you being at the next meeting as well. Okay, we are just sliding in. I'm sorry, the timing is a little bit off because of the connectivity issues. So I do this work with teams all the time. This is astounding. The 2 things that really great teams have in common. Normally I would pause here and get your input, but I need to wrap up really soon. Great teams do 2 things. Team members speak roughly the same amount. And here's the kicker. Here's where the emotional intelligence comes in. They have higher than average social sensitivity. Another way of saying that is they are emotionally intelligent. So EI is not just great for yourself, it's great for your teams. So as we close, I showed you at the beginning of this emotional hygiene, this little fellow was working so hard, right? These tools, these tips can feel a little awkward when we're not used to them. And what I know, because you're all rock stars you can get to, from this little guy to this little guy. He's so amazing. So may you find your rhythm, may you find your pace, the tools that work with you. Your teams will benefit, you will benefit, your families, your community, your countries, right? If you are UN staff or you're in an INGO, the world, these are incredible, incredible things. So thank you, thank you. I'm so grateful. I'm always very grateful for people that show up, and I'm particularly grateful for your patience with the connectivity issues today. You showed great resilience and patience. So as we went over what is emotional intelligence, why it's so critical, we talked about the STAR tool. We talked about all of those plans for your emotional wellness, including the 4 R's. So as you go forward, let me know, what's your key takeaway? Pop it in the chat. Also, I know you're busy. I know you've got many plates spinning in the air. So every roundtable, I do a kind of a one-stop place for all the resources that I used. I use a tool called Digo. So I put that link in the chat, and if you click on that link, you'll see everything that I tagged to do with this roundtable. I encourage you to pick 2 skills and practice them. And the slide deck will have arrived in your email inbox 1 minute ago. So you've got that. And then watch for the workbook and the audio recording, hopefully the video recording. I have no idea what these pauses will do to the video recording, but I'll figure it out. Everything will come to you on Monday. I love all these comments that are popping in here. Oh, thank you, Angela. Tamia saying, took a note on the 4 R's. Petty saying, we're so happy to have engaged with you. Oh, we hope to have another yeah, absolutely. I'll tell you, I'll give you information on the next roundtable in just a sec. Marlon saying, that's from South Africa, the song. And the background is very positive. It says that God made me beautiful as I am. Oh, I love that. Khadija saying, do not take EI for granted. It's a lot hiding behind this phrase. Yes, it's great to be here. Oh, fabulous. Okay, so and I apologize, we're just 2 minutes over time here, so we're just about finished. I really appreciate you being here. I want to make your time as valuable as possible. So I hope you got value. Please let me know, how did it go? I ask every month for your feedback. It really helps me know how I can get better. It gives you a chance to give me input on the next month's topic. And as a way to say thank you, I always pull someone's name. So this person, C. Ganoza, won my free access to my Ban Boring online meetings. So if you fill in the survey, you'll get a chance to win that course as well. Please, please, please. I am so interested in getting and growing this community. So please, if you found value in today, please share the link. You can scan this QR code, or I put the link in the chat. Please send it to 1 or 2 colleagues right now. If you are a UN staff person and you want to count this towards your professional development, the link for the attendance sheet is in the chat. And mark your calendars. We have June 20th is the next roundtable, and it's on public speaking. And I've got some really fun stuff planned. So why am I saying March? June 20th. I don't know why. Yeah, June, not March, June 20th. And that will be the last one. We'll take a 2-month break and then we'll be back. Oh, Khadija, great. She will put it in her work plan. Lovely. Oh, Tamina, my voice sounds like Zen. Okay, great. So I'll teach you all my tips next month. Also, as I mentioned, the workbook will come to you. It will have the audio recording. It will have the time-stamped video recording. It'll have all the resources I used. And lastly, please, if you are interested in talking to me about working with your team, doing a workshop around team building, tech tools, or training of trainers, please get in touch. Thank you so much, everyone. Stay well, stay safe, stay creative, and I really hope to see you online for next month's June, not March, June 20th workshop. I am going to stop the recording here.